Do your calves feel really tight after you walk around for a while or after you go for a run? If you do, in today's video, I'm going to share a tip with you that has really helped my clients decrease how much tension they have in their calves. And it sounds a little bit impractical, but when you actually try it, you'll notice it takes the pressure off your calves hugely. So if you'd like that tip, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm the founder and principal therapist of LSM Clinic, a sport and remedial massage therapy clinic in East London. In this channel, I share information about how the body works and muscle care so that you can enjoy your favorite activities and live as close to pain-free as possible. So what is the tip? So the short version is stop using your calves when you walk and run. And obviously, you can't remove your calves from your body and not have them be involved at all. But one of the big problems I see is that people use their calves to drive themselves forward, that then their calves get overused and then they get really sore calves. Now, if you are like I used to think, you probably think, isn't that the job of the calves? Aren't the calves supposed to push off, push me forward? But I started to think about how often we underuse our glutes and our whole leg when we are moving around, and how often things come down to the foot and the ankle and the calves. And so I started giving my clients advice to stop pushing themselves forward with their calves. So I call it stop using your calves when you're walking and running. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how you do that, and then you can try it and see if you understand what I mean. So the first thing that you want to do when you're trying to walk or run in this different way is think of your whole leg as driving you forward, but especially your glutes. So think of it almost like your butt muscles are pushing your hips forward, and then the rest of your body has to follow. So it's not that your feet are pushing you forward, which is mainly the calves pushing you, but rather that it's your whole leg starting at your glutes. So a good way to imagine it might be like imagining that someone's pushing your butt basically forward, or you can just feel that you're activating your glutes when you take a step forward. Now, what you don't want to do with this is you don't want to kind of change your standing position. So you're not going to be arching your back forward. Your hips aren't going to be forward of your feet. It's just going to be you look exactly the same, but mentally you're thinking, okay, my glutes are pushing me forward, not my feet. So that gets you moving forward, right? And so the next thing that people would be using their calves for is to get their foot off the ground so the foot can come in front. When you go to bring your leg forward, think of it as using your hip flexors, so the muscle in the front of the lower abdomen and across the leg, to lift up your knee. If you're just standing, when you lift your knee, you're using your hip flexors. So imagine that that's what you're doing when you take a step. So you push yourself forward with your hips, and then you use your hip flexor to lift up your front leg, letting your knee bend, letting your foot relax, and then when your foot hits the ground, then you push with your hip again, right? That's the pattern that you use. Now, at first, when you try this, it might feel really weird that you're driving from your hips and that you're bringing your knee forward instead of pushing off with your feet. But if you practice this, you'll notice that your calves don't get used as much. Now, the reason that I say stop using your calves is to really underline this point that you're not pushing off with your calves. You're not driving from your calves. You're driving from your hips and your pelvis. However, of course, you are still using the muscles in your lower leg when your foot comes down to help you stabilize. Now, ideally, if you have good pelvic stability, your calves don't have to do a ton to stabilize, but they still do have to do some work. And we still need our calves for sprinting, for going up and down hills, although you can push with your hips when you're going up hills a little bit more, and tiptoeing around, right? The calves are there. But after having worked with so many people and having them kind of switch this thinking, pushing their hips forward when they're running and walking and using their hip flexors to lift up their knee, I don't think that our calves are actually meant to be the drivers forward. And that's one of the reasons why our calves get so tight. Now, just a couple other little things just for the calf part. A really tight calf can be because of your piriformis being tight, because the piriformis goes over the sciatic nerve goes down the leg. Put a picture here so you can kind of see what that looks like. That can then make your calves tighten up. So it's not a bad idea to do a piriformis stretch. I have a muscle about the piriformis. I have a couple videos about the piriformis actually. I know I said muscle. I have a couple videos about the piriformis actually. So I'll put those in the link in the description below. And then the other thing with the hip flexor, you can actually decrease how much you're using your hip flexor to pull yourself through. If you use the natural elasticity that you have coming from your neck down through your sternum and then through the hip flexors. I have a video that explains that mechanic that I'll also put in the description below. So I would really love to know if you try this, how it feels, if you get stuck anywhere. Like, for example, one of the people that I showed this to, they ended up bringing their leg forward, but thinking their leg had to be straight. So instead of their knee coming up and their knee bending, they had their whole leg straight. So it really does look like, if you were to look at someone walking like this, it doesn't visually look different. It's just the difference is the muscles that you are getting to use to make the movements are different than maybe what you're used to. And just play around with it, walk up and down a little bit in your house or up and down your street, and then slowly introduce it. And you might find that your calves have to do a lot less work when you're walking around and therefore get a lot less tight. Again, if you do try this tip, please let me know. I'd love to know how you get on with it. If you'd like more tips like this, please like this video, follow the channel so you can get notified as I release more. And I do have a free self-care emails that I send 3 times a month or once a month, depending on which one you sign up for. So if you'd like more tips, you can sign up to our newsletter as well. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.